Alright, it's February 18th. I'm gonna read from my work journal from January or February 15th. I am infuriated having to forcibly get up to go operate in this meaningless bullshit. The only way I'm getting out of this is by healing. It really isn't hard to stay disciplined when feeling as pissed off as I am. God damn, it's just so fucking stupid. And to top it off, the fucking idiotic fools I'm surrounded by who love this shit, who defend it with all their effort. Talk about a trauma response. Talk about Stockholm syndrome. I got into the break room this morning at work, and my instincts was to throw all that fake ass bullshit food in the trash. Because my work, it's so stupid, man. All the prizes you get all is like energy drinks and fucking gummies and just fucking bullshit. Chemically neurotoxin ass filled bullshit food that's not even fucking food. Just because you can eat it doesn't mean it's fucking food. You can eat shit doesn't mean it's fucking food. Yeah, so man, I got in there and there's like rows of fucking cookies and all this bullshit ass shit, and I just wanted to throw all that shit in the trash. Like, my instinct was just grab it all and just throw it all in the fucking trash. But don't do that, because the addicts will fucking go nuts if you do that. I was so focused on holding myself back, I didn't even realize the news was playing on the TV. Once I heard that, all I wanted to do was smash the fucking thing. I didn't even realize, because as soon as I get to work, I put my juices in the fridge, and I was so focused on that bullshit on the counters, I didn't even hear the TV on with the news, because I was so pissed that morning. I had to force myself to wake up. I was like, man, fuck this shit. Like, I hate having to forcibly wake up. I hate not being able to move at my own will. And so I sat down and I was like, man, before I even start working, I need to start writing. So I started writing. And as I was writing, I was like, man, is that the fucking news playing? And so I started writing that, and I was like, yeah, as soon as I heard that fucking news, all I wanted to do was just smash that stupid fucking TV. Because it's just, the news is fucking ridiculous. It just talks about the most idiotic bullshit ever. And yeah, man, those are natural reactions to corruption, to our enslavement, and those are natural fucking reactions. So and what's crazy, and I feel emasculated. I can't I can't stand for justice. I can't talk sense into these fucking people, because they love it. They're all about it. They want nothing else but what they have. At least that's what they think. That's what they think. But yeah, I feel emasculated, having to hold myself back, not allowed to stand against tyranny, not allowed to stand against injustice, not allowed to smack around an ignorant dumbass fuck around until they comprehend the fucking truth of the matter. Nope, I just have to sit idly by and have to ease myself with the knowing I am at least getting myself out of this shit. And that is all I can do. That is all I can do. That's all you're allowed to fucking do. You can't, all this inhumanity, all this injustice happening, and all I can do is focus on my healing, focus on my detachment. That's it. That's all I can do. And so I have to convert. It's okay to feel this anger, it's just acknowledging it and not wallowing in it, putting it into use to what really matters. And me putting it into use is into my healing. Like I said, it really isn't hard to stay disciplined when feeling as pissed off as I am. When I was that pissed off, it was like full throttle into healing at that point. So yeah, and that is all I can do. But to react in a way that is natural to being treated so badly is definitely not allowed. Going into the first part of my shift, I could only last. Alright, so now I'm at my first break. Going into the first part of my shift, I could only last so long with the anger. It almost felt like cognitive dissonance was setting in as I have to do my slave work with a smile on my face and behave accordingly, all while having the thoughts of fuck this shit. Exactly. I'm thinking one way, yet behaving another way. So that's what cognitive dissonance is. Knowing something is fucked up, but you're still doing it. And when you're doing it, you have to, in order to not deal with that cognitive dissonance, you have to double down and defend. You have to justify why you're doing the thing which is not right to do. So that's what cognitive dissonance is knowing one way, or even feeling that this is off, but you're still fucking doing it, or you're still doing the opposite of what you know is right to do, what you know is meant to be happening. And so that's, and that's what it was. I was so pissed off, I just couldn't get it off my fucking mind. At least I wrote in the beginning of the day, because that helped get some of the thoughts rolling. But yeah, when I went in there, I was just like, man, this shit is fucking bullshit. It's all consumerist ass bullshit. It's completely meaningless, completely useless. And not only that, it perpetuates the enslavement. It all comes from slaves. It's all feeding the beast system, right? And so it's just like, man, fuck, I'm tied into this shit. I'm attached. I'm still dependent on this shit, which is the whole reason for this healing and detaching. People like to say to me, oh, well, you still have a phone. Oh, well, you still drive a car and buy gas. Oh, well, you still have and it's like, no fucking shit. We have to wean off. We went through 18 years of deep programming, of deep indoctrination. It takes weaning off. You can't just fucking run away from this shit and expect to heal, because we are emotionally and mentally attached to this shit. That's what I was saying last night. I put on a post on my Instagram, like, man, the physical abuse wasn't shit. It was the mental, emotional, spiritual, the psychological abuse, which is the worst, because that is the hardest to address. Because when we live so long in that mental, emotional, and spiritual abuse, we start to cope with it, and then we start to see the positive in it, and then we start to put all the blame on us, so for the reason why things are bad. So when it comes to facing that type of abuse, it's the toughest one to face, because we are in complete denial of the truth of it. So yeah, man, I could only last but so long with the anger. It almost felt like cognitive dissonance was setting in, which, no, that is what it was. It didn't, I wasn't sure. I was like, man, is that what that is? Because I could feel like it was a shift. It was like a wave coming on, where it started bringing me out of my authenticity, and started making me feel like it was almost like a fog, almost like it was strange. It almost felt like cognitive dissonance was setting in, but it was cognitive dissonance now being able to sit on that, as I have to do my slave work with a smile on my face and behave accordingly to the policies, all while having the thoughts of fuck this shit. As I'm thinking one way, yet behaving another way, a headache started forming, and my drive to continue was depleting. I knew I needed to do something, as I was not going to make my obligations harder than it already is. So for the rest of the shift, I started putting my thoughts into a freestyle. The freestyle was so lit. It was so funny. I was just geeking the rest of that shift, laughing out loud even. I wanted to stay authentic and not numb myself in order to continue on. So laughing about it and making a joke of it all, like a stand-up comedy skit, I saw was the best way to go about it. It's wild too that I haven't had one single craving this morning. Yeah, so yeah, like, because I would have to numb myself. I would have to just fucking shift my being into automaton and just do what I gotta do. But I didn't want to fucking do that. I want to stay in my authentic presence as much as I can. So I turned that anger into a freestyle. I just started freestyling about it. Started looking at, and it was it was just so funny. And I just did it the rest of that beginning shift, and yeah, it had me laugh, and it made me feel better, and that was needed. And it took the headache away and everything. It made me feel at ease again. I felt in control, not letting myself fall into 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 autopilot. So, and I write this. So I was so wrapped up in that. I was so wrapped up in expressing myself freely, expressing myself authentically, analyzing these things, and just digging deep into those thoughts, that there was no room for cravings. It was like my cravings knew, the ego knew, it's like, look, we're not going to throw any cravings at this guy because he's going to fucking, he's going to face us head on. So we're going to step back and we're going to come at him when he's at his low or when he's calmed down, and get him. And yeah, that's literally what happened. So it's wild too that I haven't had one single craving this morning. And like I've been writing this entire juicing journey, I've been getting cravings in the morning, so it was, even being in the break room now, I have zero desire. My juice is definitely banging. It's electrifying, it's quenching, it's crazy to feel the way I do. How much at ease and sanity I'm at for not being as addicted as I used to be to cook food. I still am an addict, more like a recovering addict, but I feel completely fine saying no to food. Like I've said before, if I say no to food, it wouldn't be a 100% determined no. It would be a if and, because I'd be like, no, I'm gonna say no for now, but if in an hour or two and I'm still feeling these cravings, then, I might change my decision on that. I might, it was always up in the air. It was just a moment. It was a temporary no, but yeah, if I said no to food and then I continued, and let's say that hour or two later came and those cravings are still there, and I'd still be saying no, well, then my body and mind would start going whacking out. It'd start going crazy. It'd start fiending hard. My heart would start to pump. My blood would start to flow faster. I would start getting very anxious and uneasy, and it's so crazy because now it's the total opposite. Like, when I say no, it's firm. It's a firm fucking no. And it's not just no, I don't want that. It's no, why don't I want that? I hit the why. I hit all my, I go through the entire process of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so it brings me at such ease, because the initial 35 days of juicing, I was like, well, I don't want to necessarily fully break away from food. Like, I want to experience this type of food again. And yeah, man, now I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck all that. I don't need any of it. I've experienced it thousands of times in my life. I don't need, I'm way past it now. And so now I'm just battling with the cravings and the withdrawals, and yeah, which I'll do a juicing update for that. So now I'm into my next break. Feeling good, haven't had any cravings come, though, except for one that came right after my first break. So that was wild, because I had this one craving, and here, let me continue reading. I got a scent of tuna, and immediately I wanted a tuna sandwich. I pictured each layer in my head: the toasted bread, lettuce on both sides, tomato on both sides, a nice juicy fat tomato on both sides, melted cheese on both sides, and a huge heaping scoop of tuna salad, to the point tuna falls out all ends of the sandwich, so that each bite after the first bite, I get to scoop a spoonful of tuna with each bite of sandwich I take. It was a fleeting thought, though, because as soon as that fantasizing was done, I don't even remember having to sit with that and process through it. I even forgot that I even had that even happened until now. And that was the thing, like, it was so crazy, because that's how the cravings happen. Like, they'll just pop up out of nowhere. I'll be completely fucking fine, a craving will pop up out of nowhere, the whole imagination of it, and visualizing holding it in my hand and even taking a bite of it, like, it'll all happen in a split second, that craving. And but because that whole morning, that whole day at work, I was just like so infuriated with this fucking with this addiction that was imbued onto me, that was taught to me, that was propagandized onto me. I was so pissed at being a slave and all these things, that I was just fucking, all I thought about that morning, and how to get out of this, how to stay strong in my healing, to know that all I can do is heal and detach, all these things. And so that craving came out of nowhere. It was like a 2-minute craving, and it all entailed what I just wrote there of, I smelt the tuna, it made me crave a tuna sandwich. Then I pictured a tuna sandwich in its wholeness. Then I dissected it into all its layers and how it'd be taking a bite of it and tasting it. Because when I smelt it, I could taste it. And so, yeah, but all that happened, and I didn't even remember, I didn't even have to sit with that. I didn't even have to go through the whole spiel again of having to go through my why and why I'm not doing it and why that's, all those things. I didn't have to go through any of that. It was like a craving came, and then I bounced right back out of it. Like, I didn't have to process it, nothing. So, and yeah, and as I was writing, because you can see I wrote feeling good, haven't had any cravings come, and then right there it hit me. It was like, wait, no, I did have that one craving. And so I was like, oh yeah, except for the one right after my first break, so yeah, I am more focused on this project I am on, and how to go about it. I see I really need to focus on developing the fundamentals of my foundation, to contemplate on these things more, to spend more of my time in the present moment and seeing it in myself with honest eyes. I need to catch the times I am distracting myself and use those times as opportunities to become wiser and stronger. At the very least, not just acknowledge that I am distracting myself, but why I am distracting myself. And when I find out why, well then why do I not want to sit with that why? Why would I still choose my distraction over figuring out a better way to go about it, rather than taking an easy way out? It's a journey, and I don't need to force it, but I do have to be honest and initiative. But I do have to be honest, and initiative need to be taken. Initiative actions need to be taken. Initiative needs to be taken. It's easy to acknowledge, but making changes, taking actions, is a whole other ballgame. Yeah, it's so easy to acknowledge. Like someone who's an asshole, you see it. People will acknowledge, yeah, I'm an asshole. but they won't do anything about it. They just expect everyone to, a person will think, oh, if I just let people know I'm an asshole, then they can learn how to deal with it. It's me. You got. So other people have to deal with your shit. That's how passive aggressive people. I used to, when I was in the spiritual movement and I was learning some energy practice from this teacher. She was highly, highly passive aggressive while she talked about being so heavily and angelic. And she would she even knew she was a bitch. She even said it. She was like, I know I'm a bitch. But she just totally went past, like, she didn't take any personal responsibility, nothing. She just acknowledged. She thought all she had to do was acknowledge, and that, oh, whoa, this is me. You just have to deal with it. You just have to put up with it. And it's like, no, fuck that. What the fuck? No, you uphold some personal fucking responsibility for yourself. See where the fuck that shit's stemming from and heal yourself, so people don't have to put up with that shit anymore. So you don't have to put up with that shit anymore. But that's the thing. People are comfortable with where they're at, so they're comfortable being an asshole. They're comfortable being passive aggressive and such. And it's like, no, that's not cool. So acknowledging these things, acknowledging along the healing journey, and acknowledging, oh, I'm distracting myself. But how many times are you going to acknowledge? What, the rest of your life? Oh, I know I'm distracting myself, but it is what it is. This is what I do. It's like, no, in order to change that, you're not going to change by simply acknowledging it. That's just the first step. Recognizing and accepting what it is, exactly for what it is just the first step. Now you need to start running it through your mind and using the faculties of your mind, contemplating on these things, and coming with a solution or a change of action, and aligning your words, thoughts, and actions to start changing those characteristics of yourself. So then I just, after I wrote that, I just, so I said, it's easy to acknowledge, but making changes, taking action is a whole other ball game. So like right here, I said, at the very least, not just acknowledge that I am distracting myself, but why. So yeah, it's not just having a craving and going, oh, I have a craving, I acknowledge I'm having a craving, but I acknowledged it, so now I'm gonna go and indulge on this food. No, before you indulge, sit with that, acknowledge what the craving that's coming on, and sit with it. Observe it and address it. Observe it and ask yourself, why am I craving? What started this craving? What emotions was I dealing with before this craving? What will indulging in this food do for me? Why will it bring me ease and comfort? Why can't I find ease and comfort with sitting with this, processing through it, and then not doing it? What happens if I don't indulge in this craving? What happens if I abstain from it and I go and do something else? And going through the why, getting deep with it, because that may actually take you out of your craving. And not only that, with all that reasoning and contemplation and introspection, you might just talk your way out of your craving and end up choosing making a better decision, which that is a better decision already if you're doing that. But at least doing all that before you indulge in the food, and that's what I say. And when I find out the why as to why I want to distract myself, well, why do I not want to sit with that why? Or why would I come to all these conclusions and still want to indulge? So it's like, it's really digging deep and dissecting. Am I gonna die if I don't indulge on this food? No, I might have an increase in anxiety. I might have a deeper desire and a more feeling of a void within. But maybe I just need to sit with that and see what comes up when I abstain from mindlessly falling into that habit. which is just an addiction. And you're not gonna fucking die by not eating your Taco Bell and your McDonald's or your cooked dinner or anything like that, you know. And even at times like that, just real quick, eat a piece of fruit. Go and get a bag of oranges. Go and get a couple different fruits and make yourself a smoothie without adding any sugar and milk and shit like that, you know. But yeah. Yeah, chew, because usually for those cravings, you'll see you just want the comfort of chewing on something, you know, or your body's really just asking for hydration. You know, when you give your body hydration, I noticed that when I went on the raw diet, giving my body hydration, going into the fruit rather than the cooked meal, because every time as soon as I got hungry, I would eat my cooked meal. I would go out and get something. You know, but when I first started eating, I would do a shake. I would make a big shake, like a gallon shake or almost a gallon shake, and I would drink that, and I would eat some fruit along with it, and it would immediately take away all those cravings, and my body wouldn't even start craving, because really all it wanted was hydration, because it's so dehydrated from all the toxins and chemicals and dry foods we eat, because those things rob us of our hydration. When we eat those things, it robs us from our water and our hydration. So which I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I always noticed even before I came to this awareness, every time I ate dry food, and dry food doesn't mean, you know, even the greasy, saucy burgers and saucy noodles and all those things, just because it's liquidy doesn't mean it's hydrating. Even those things, it's very it's dry, it's dry food, it's dry cooked food, and I mean dry as in dead nutrients. It has no nutritional value, so it's dead weight, it's dry weight in your body, and it robs you of your water. And so what I'm saying is, every time I'd eat those things, I would immediately be craving hydration. But then when I got on the raw diet and I went straight to hydration first, that was it. I had my hydration, and it wasn't like the vice versa of first I eat my cooked food and then I crave hydration. When I do my hydration, I wouldn't crave cooked food. It was simply just, yeah, so that. Then I just made a side note. I said, build my why, build my foundation, be honest, remember how powerful and capable I am. Don't let my constructs fool me. Don't let my programs control me. Don't let society and the minions entice and reel me back in. And don't let my lows discourage me. You know, that's very important. I'll read that again. Remember how powerful and capable I am. Don't let my constructs fool me. Don't let my programs control me. Don't let society and the minions entice and reel me back in. And don't let my lows discourage me. So yeah, that was February 15th, writings from my work journal. And yeah, that's all.